Hi, welcome to Right Now, our streaming live YouTube show. This is episode 7, and we are your hosts,
Valerie Ihsan.
Joanna Bartlett.
Julie Dawn.
So thanks for joining us today. We are live again at Tsunami Books in Eugene, Oregon. You'll go. You get to say the next bit.
I get to say the next
Yeah.
bit? Oh, well, I wasn't prepared.
Sorry.
Where did you leave off?
Right here.
Oh,
We have
today's
notes.
date.
Yes.
Today's date is June 11th as we're recording this. And today we're talking about writing processes and how we write and how we get it done and what it looks like to be an author. And we're going to start with our check-in and we'll move on from there.
Yes.
All right. So
We all look
for
at
this
you.
week, what have I done writing wise? I have fought for my writing time.
Awesome. Yay.
And I did enough editing through to put me over the 80,000 mark.
Wow.
So,
nice.
woo!
That's a lot of
I'm like,
words.
what am I doing?
It's going to be a long book.
So, well, right now it's about on point, and then I know there's editing that I have to do at the end to do the story that I want to. And I'll worry about that later. But that's gonna eventually take out tens of thousands of words, just because that's how I do.
I do just the opposite.
So
You add in at
I
the
add
end.
in when I edit.
I add in and add in and until like about the third go around, and then I go, this is what I want to do, and then I take a big chunk out and I go, okay, maybe you wound up in another story somewhere. But yeah, so it's like add in, delete the entire ending, and then redo it.
So you fought for writing time this week and went over the 80,000 word mark.
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
awesome. What about you?
I did not do much in writing. I did journaling. I did some good journaling. I went to the my grief recovery training, and so now I am a certified grief recovery specialist. I also finished the sweater. It was my creative project.
There
I
you
finished
go.
the sweater, and so that was a great. I mean, it was a really difficult experience, to be completely honest. It was emotionally just really hard to do this 4 days of intensive training.
Oh, I'm glad you clarified. I thought maybe that was the sweater.
Oh, the sweater, I
It
was
really hard and emotionally draining.
I was trying to figure out like how long to make the sleeves and
Uh-huh.
all of that. It turned out well. It fits me, which I'm very
Nice.
happy about. When you make something and then it doesn't actually fit, it's very, very sad. I just give it to a kid. But no, the training was butt kicking training.
And this is something that you're going to be able to apply to your author business?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Maybe not. We'll find out one day.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah, so I didn't really do any kind of writing related stuff at all in the last week. There
Which
you
is
go.
okay.
That's how it goes some weeks.
Yeah. I did lots of little things. So I had my meeting with the instructor from that one class, and she gave me the critique on the first 15 pages. And so I got some cool ideas about the memoir that I'm working on. And I taught a character class, character and point of view. So that was really fun. So I worked on the PowerPoint presentation for that up to the last minute, gave the class. And I had a business meeting with a colleague, Anthony Sinclair, who was here on our show last week, and got some more business ideas. And yeah, so that's kind of what my week looked like writing wise.
I hear he did not do the accent, though.
No.
I'm very disappointed, Anthony. We're going to have a talk. Thanks for filling in for me, really.
Okay, so we don't have a question this time, but we have a comment on our YouTube channel, and Julie is going to tell us who did that and what they said, and we'll riff on it.
Yes. This is from Calliope, and she says, "Love your camaraderie, girls. I'm not an author yet, so no tools to share, but learned quite a bit from you three. Thanks." Thanks so much for the comment.
Yay, we like comments. Please comment on our YouTube channel. And that URL is live-rightnow.com.
Mm-hmm.
Right now it's in WRITE.
Like you
We're
should be
punny
writing
like
now.
that.
Yeah, we're punny like that. I was at the library yesterday with the kids, and somebody had posted up a sheet that said terrible puns with tear off puns at the bottom. It was the best. The kids loved it.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm so proud. This is what
Funny and punny.
who I'm raising. The kids who like terrible puns. But yeah, so thanks, Calliope, for enjoying us and finding it useful.
I wanted to take a moment and comment on the comment about I'm not an author yet. So I wonder what she meant by that.
Right. Right. If it's you're at that stage where you are a writer, but you still do not have the self-confidence that you need to become an author. Or if you just haven't started writing yet. And which in sense you will get to that stage where you are not a writer yet, but you are a writer.
Affirmations work really good for that. So you can just say, I am a writer to yourself every day, and that will become your truth. And I think there are lots of different kinds of writing. Like you said, you didn't do any writing. Oh, but I did journal writing. That's writing. That's memoir writing. That's personal essay, kind of.
Could be. It could become personal.
It could become that.
Could be the seed.
The kernels. Yeah.
You never know.
Right. So.
Before I started being an author. What's that author ink? I don't know. I'm putting in quotes. An author. Hold on.
Bam.
And I was just kind of a writer, like a commercial writer, writing for other people for money, like freelance writing, business writing, content marketing, all that kind of thing. I remember reading, is in Writer's Digest, about something that really struck me, that it was talking about, being a writer, calling yourself a writer, even if you're not published in magazines or books, even if you're not a published book author, or even having your essays or short stories or whatever published, that you're still a writer, and to give yourself permission to be that, to kind of live that for yourself, and also to give yourself the time, like you fighting for your writing time this week, right? And every week perhaps with children and life, but
5 o'clock in the morning, let the dogs out, put them away, and then write for an hour.
But that you're still a writer, whether or not you've been published, whether or not, you can, and that was a big shift for me in terms of my own mindset of going, oh, I can call myself a writer. I mean, and I had been a professional writer for like 15 years at that point, I think, for, journalism, and just all my work has been like communications, marketing, communications, that kind of thing. But it didn't feel the same as, I don't know, I thought like I needed some other permission or something to have that label for myself, which is funny.
Remember too that even published authors, traditionally published or self-published, often have other jobs that they do to supplement their income. And so even if you are, I don't know, a garbage collector or a train driver or a preschool teacher or something like that, you're also a writer. So when people ask you what you do, instead of saying I'm a preschool teacher, you could say I'm a writer.
I'm a writer.
Because even those full-time, or not full-time, because then they would be the writer all the time, but even those authors that have other jobs, when they are asked what they are, they also say I am a writer. So you could start doing that.
Well, and even authors that are predominantly authors still supplement their income around a lot of that stuff, whether it's school visits or teaching classes or editing or mentoring or that kind of thing. I mean, there's, I think, a huge myth in the publishing industry that you publish a book and that's it, that's what you do from now on. You just sit down and you write the pretty words every day, and that's your you get a wonderful income just from doing that. And sadly, that's not true for most people. Most of us end up doing other things as well, even if it's in the writing field. But certainly, I mean, you're still a writer. If you're writing, you're a writer. And if you've published a book of some kind, I guess then you get to be an author. I
think
don't know.
I think it's important too that you start by telling people you're a writer, because when I first published, when the first book came out and people would ask me, and I'd be like, oh, do I tell you, and I think you have to get past that point where you find credibility in yourself for being a writer. It has meaning. It is a fulfilling, worthful job, even if you don't make a lot of money at it at the time,
And it's a truthful statement. I write, so therefore I am a writer.
And there will people be like, oh, okay, which is fine.
Well, and then there's the, oh, what have you written? As in, like, they're going to know what it is. And then they go, yeah, I haven't read that.
You're like,
and you're like,
burn.
Whatever, it's fine.
Also, one other thing you can do if you're not an author yet is to blog. You can publish your work on a blog, and that will get you into the habit of putting your words out there for the public. And even if you don't have a big readership, it's still part of the process.
But if you don't want to blog, don't blog.
Yeah.
I've tried to blog so many times, and then that self-doubt comes in, and I'm like, oh my God, people are going to read my blog and then like unlike my page, and get over that point too. I think there's hurdles there's certain stepping stones along the author process that you have to get over.
Mm-hmm.
And mindset doesn't change like, okay, I'm going to decide to change my mind, so I've changed my mind, so therefore it's done and over with. It's usually a continual process. Okay.
So if you have a question for us or want us to talk about your comment like we have, thank you, Kelly. I hope you realized what you were in for by leaving that comment. Please leave a comment below on this video. Okay? We love feedback and engagement. So should we move on to our main topic of the week?
I think so.
So our main topic of the week was writing processes, how we write, how we get it done, what that all looks like. Julie, we know, gets up at 5 a.m. because you are a goddess, apparently, not unlike me.
Beware, I may be realizing it. Yeah, I get up, it's the only time. So I have the kids all summer long. And my husband goes,
it'll be okay.
He goes, so does this mean you get more time to yourself or less time? And I was like, good question, because I get up and I make my kids lunches from scratch every morning. Like I made hamburgers from rolling patties this morning because we have a very clean diet. And I'm like, I won't have to do that in the summertime.
Right.
And I won't have to clean the dishes for the lunches. And I was like, I can just let the dogs out, bring them back in, put them away so they're quiet for an hour, and, get an hour in. And what I find is if it's only 10 minutes or if it's only an hour, it adds up.
Yes.
Which, when you're looking at the whole mountain, you're like, oh my God, how am I going to get up there? And that one step seems daunting. So I think for one of my things is taking the time to enjoy the story process as I'm going. Has a lot to do with getting it done. Because otherwise it's like, oh my God, I'm drowning in life, So.
I imagine having those daily goals helps too. Like if you look at the word count, oh my gosh, I've got to write this 90,000 word book. That sounds daunting and unapproachable. But if you're just writing 500 words a day or 1,000 words a day or 800 words a day or more, whatever works in your schedule, if you have an hour. And the more you practice at it, the faster you'll get. And then obviously too, if you dictate, if you have a house set up where you can dictate, then you can be really fast and get a lot of words in that hour. But if you have sleeping children and sleeping dogs that you're trying to covertly type around, maybe dictating isn't the thing for you.
I've been doing a lot of like in the drafting phase, I can listen to music that has lyrics to it. But when I get to the editing phase, I need I can't have the lyrics because I can't
have lyrics
hear it
at all.
No.
And so I've been listening to this Native American meditation stuff lately, and I've found that it keeps the dogs a little calmer in the morning when
that's interesting.
they're in
That's
their
nice.
crates. So
Maybe I'll try that with mine.
sorry, I love you guys, but
Maybe I'll try that with my children.
Thunderstorms are coming. Let's put on some Native American meditation music.
Huh.
See if that works.
So
What about? Oh, I was going to ask more questions, but it sounds like you were too. So
No,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I was just going to say, like, so do you compose on your computer? Do you have a desktop that you sit down at, or do you have a laptop? Or
I only have Word on my laptop because the desktop we had just gotten, and I'm like, I don't feel like shelling out $150 for Word, you know. So I'm still on my laptop right now. But
so you write on your laptop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And do you set it up like at the kitchen table, or do you sit on the couch and write?
It's
What's your
kind of
process?
anywhere.
Okay.
Usually it's on the couch, unless it's cold, because we have a leather couch, and leather couches are freezing cold, you know. So then I'll sit in front of the heater on the kids' stool.
So you're very flexible then. That's good in terms of where you write and how you write. Yeah, I have a laptop too as my main computer. I have a hard time writing in my office though, because I have, the setup with the key, another keyboard and mouse and another monitor in my office, so I can, which is good for editing or good for doing work where, having two screens helps. But for writing, I need to go somewhere else. It's weird. I have coffee shops are good. Somewhere else in the house sometimes works. Even it's just that kind of change, break in scenery. I don't have a good writing process set up at the moment, honestly, so I'm not getting any writing done. I need to figure out a way that works to kind of in my day, in the flow of my day and my energy, and if I can do that, then that tends to help. For a while I was, taking my youngest kid to school and going to a coffee shop and writing for, hour and a half. And we used to do that together. And Julie would watch my laptop so I could go pee. It was great.
The dangers of writing in cafes.
It's
Yes,
true,
you
because
don't
you have
realize it until you're
you know,
alone and
it's
you're
the
like,
morning. I've had water, then I've had tea, then I go and I order another tea. My bladder can only take so much, and sometimes that helps because it's like, okay, I need to finish this scene or this chapter, and then I can go pee. And so I have a lot of motivation to just get it done. And then, but sometimes then you need to pee so much you can't think.
Yes.
And so that
you're
doesn't
like,
work.
man, I was on a writing flow.
Yeah, and then you have to look around and see if there's some nice looking person that looks trustworthy that you can say, I need to pee, can you watch my laptop? Because it's my life is on that thing. So so that was working actually for me for a while. And I just, my youngest is graduating 5th grade this week, so no more driving to school. Yay!
Oh, are they gonna bus?
They're gonna walk.
You live close
Everybody walks now. Which is great, and also it means that I don't have the same motivation to get up and get dressed and out the house. So
I laugh. I run late everywhere now.
starting June 16th, I just won't ever get out of pajamas.
Yay!
I'll be
it's a
showing
pajama
up.
day.
I'll still be in pajamas.
We can change it to sleepy time with.
I don't know. Anyway, so for me, having some kind of rhythm schedule, especially if I'm really into a project and working on a project, that having those kind of goals, if I'm going to write, break it down to a daily goal or weekly goal or whatever, and then having times set in my schedule where I go write.
Do you write every day?
It depends. No. Generally, no. I'm a feast or famine kind of writer, it seems. I'm either all in it and I'm really immersed in it and I'm wanting to do it, and then and then like naturally, right, you get to the end of drafting a book and then you have to edit it. So I'm not it's not producing content when you're editing anyway. So
I used to get really down on myself for not writing today, instead of remembering that book creation isn't all about putting new words on the page. So if you don't have, my goal was 500 and then 1,000 and then 1,500. So I kind of worked my way up. So, so when I'm drafting, rough drafting, then that happens more regularly. I am also a massage therapist, so on those days I often don't write. So I write 3 days a week and I do massage 2 days a week, and I don't work on the weekends unless I have to for deadline purposes or whatever. But and I totally lost my train of thought.
Oh, that you're feeling bad about yourself, that you weren't necessarily writing every
when you're
single day.
Editing, so on the days, on my writing days, I'm editing, which counts as book creation.
Yeah, I mean, you have to do it.
And if you're formatting
that totally
an ebook or something like that, bam.
Well, and so like right now, because I've been feeling a little bit bad about myself. I haven't been, especially we're doing this show, and I was like, oh, I'm not really writing anything at the moment. I was getting away with it by saying I'm working on a book proposal, which I've now decided I need to just write the bloody book. And if I whisper
how that works.
I need to just write it, independently publish this one again, and then go forward kind of from there, because I'm going to be shifting a little bit in terms of my nonfiction. But then I go, okay, Joanna, you have published, so I think it's 7 books now in the last, in 2 years.
That's a lot.
Clearly I'm doing something right. I'm going to ban myself. I must be doing something right, because they're getting done, they're getting published. Yeah. The words, not all of them are full of words. One is a coloring book. But still has some explanation about it. So, it is happening. The process does happen. And I think maybe my natural process is just, this is how I go, depending on my energy level. And with the school year, like the school year's ending, I don't know what my schedule's going to be like this summer with the kids. I'm going to have them for a few weeks, and then they're going to go to their dad's for the rest of the summer. And so it's this kind of constant
feast or famine
adjustment for me. Yeah, and that's just how it is. And so I'm working on being okay with that, because it's what I've got.
And you've mentioned before on the show that you deal with chronic pain and chronic illness, and some days
some
no
days
writing
it's
gets
happen,
done because so
some days it's just not, because I can't. Yeah, so I spent most of Saturday in bed, actually, because Saturday wasn't a good energy day. Today's not a great day either, but whatever.
Thanks for coming and
I'm
sitting
here.
with us then. So you're also a flexible writer then.
There you go.
That's go with the flow.
Most of it, though, is just showing up for different things. And I've given myself the freedom to, as long as I show up, if I'm late, I'm showing up still. Instead of, I'm running late, so I'm too embarrassed to show up.
Say that again?
I'm running late, so I'm too embarrassed to show up.
So if you get to your writing later, the normal, it's still okay.
Yeah.
And you just do it when you can do it. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
I heard a podcast, I forget the name of the author, but he was talking about no 0 days. And so as long, because there's, and another author had said something about starting the chain of red X's. He would write his words and he would put a red X on the calendar. And so his goal became to keep that chain of red X's. And if you break the chain, don't let 2 days go by where there isn't, red marks. So having that, but so another
welcome to my life, though. I mean, that doesn't work sometimes.
Right. Well, that was just what somebody. So another author said, no 0 days. So even if you just write 3 words.
So my to-do list, does that count?
I think it meant on the project, but whichever.
Well, I think writing becomes a lot like working out. At first, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I'm going to sit my butt down on the yoga mat and I'm going to do it. And then the more you do it, the easier it is.
And the more you want to do it.
Yeah, and the more
Okay.
you want to do it. Because at the end of like, you know, that 20 days of working out, you're like, why doesn't everybody work out?
All the time.
Yeah, and then
That's so
it
good.
tapers off, and you're like, I don't want to do it, you know. So.
One of my mindset shifts around that was I would sit there and like talk myself out of writing. Oh, I don't have time or whatever. The whole gamut of excuses why I wasn't writing that day. And then I realized I sound just like my kids not doing homework. They sit at the table and complain and talk about why they can't do their homework for like 45 minutes, and it would have been done already if they had just done it. And that I was like, oh, busted, man. That's totally freaking me. So that helped me just do it and get it done. And now it isn't as hard to do because, you know, it's just part of the process and it's part of my job. And
yeah. The thing though with that, like with exercise, back to chronic illness, for anybody else out there who might struggle with chronic illness, is some days I just can't.
Yeah.
Some days I wake up or, you know, something happens during the day or whatever, and I go, okay, yeah, not getting exercise today. My body is just not physically capable. Okay, it's fine. No failure, you know. So that's why I kind of have resistance to that whole, like, you know, don't break the chain. Break the chain all the time.
Yeah.
I have to. Like
I don't do that. I was just spreading
which
other
does work
resources.
For some people. For some people, they do like having that, you know, to keep going. Sorry, they really, you know, it helps them a lot. So
there is another resource. I love giving resources. So in the book, The Healthy Writer by Joanna Penn and Dr. Eugene Lawson, there is a chapter. I forget the name of the chapter, but it's written by a man who has bipolar disorder, and how some of the worst writing advice he ever got was that you have to write every day, and that was really demoralizing, and it, you know, hurt him, and he felt really bad about not being a real writer because he wasn't writing every day. So having that mindset shift and change where he sets up his writing life so that he's writing multiple projects. So when he's in a certain frame of mind, he can write in this genre, but not this one. And also setting it up so he leaves himself little notes. What?
I like that.
And when
having two different genres going at the same time,
depending on where you're at,
right? Yeah. And also he would leave himself little notes when he stopped writing because he didn't know when he could get back. It could be tomorrow, it could be 6 months from there, and so he would just leave himself a little note about where he left off and what he wanted to do next, and that was his writing process, and I thought it was a fabulous chapter. So totally get that book. Cool. and read that chapter specifically about that mindset shift. And so my writing process is, I used to write in cafes. But then I got a home office, and that surprisingly was superb. And I love writing in my office and closing the door. And sometimes I'll have a dog in there, and sometimes I'll banish them, and they won't be able to come in. But yeah, writing in my office a few days a week. That's kind of my.
Changing your atmosphere can be useful too, because you're talking about a home office. I'm like, oh wait, my Yosemite Rising one, we were in Waldport, so it's coastal. And I had my own office, but I never used it because it was like empty and at a desk, and I was like, oh God, I feel like I'm at school. So I'd go write, you know, in the pitch dark in my living room with my feet propped up. And then we moved to another house, and we built this tiny room above the garage where I would like have to climb up this little ladder in this hole to get up in there. And we put in a window so I'd have some like light, and I had a little heater going in my desk. So I wrote at my desk then because I was maybe in this little tiny capsule. But
that sounds like an awesome office. I love that. And the transition, the commute is walking up the ladder, and I love it.
Oh, it's really funny.
But so changing, I think, your atmosphere and balancing your writing days with your inspirational days, you know, to let that inspiration come in, and just make sure you don't take too many inspirational days, you know.
Unless that's what you need for that week.
That's true. And you could go you know, if you don't want to write for a couple years, or you grow out of it, or
But sometimes it's true though.
Yeah.
Sometimes a project or even where you are in your life is like, I don't need to be producing this much
Right.
work right now.
Right.
I'm doing something else, or I'm focusing on a different aspect of my business or how I earn a living so that I can support doing the
Absolutely.
writing work I want to do.
Absolutely.
So we need to wrap up for this
Okay.
week. So I guess we'll skip our accountability for next week. We will do writing things. I have no idea what I was going to say anyway. I will do writing. I have to do planning. I have to do planning for June. That's my plan. So thanks for watching. Please join us again next Monday, June 18th, either live on YouTube or after the fact on YouTube, or here at our live studio audience, which consists of Julie's cutest baby in the world. We're going to be talking about advertising, trying to fit as much. He's so
Cutest
cute.
baby in the world.
So cute. We're going to talk about advertising as much as we can fit into 10 or 20 minutes worth about like how to do it, when to start, what we are doing, that kind of thing.
what kind of works, maybe what doesn't. I'm always interested to know if you have something in advertising that has worked. Please share below.
yes.
Yeah, let us know
Definitely.
what works for you. We'll talk about that. So if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Over there on the BAM. Here. BAM.
Is it on that side or is it on that side?
I don't
I guess we'll find out. Just point to each other. It's like pointing to each other's boobs at the moment. Anyway, I'm Joanna Bartlett. This is
Valerie Ihsan.
Julie
and-
Dawn.
and we'll see you next Monday at 11:11. So go
Right now.